Yes, I think importantly for us to remember is that what's happening over here now? What's important to remember with pricing, people, I know the screen is very small here, but for you, you're getting first-hand experience here in class. What's important for me in pricing, there are 8 steps that we've followed to determine what is a correct price. And there are some aspects that we consider in the process. We're going to start off, obviously, but because you want to determine what your pricing constraints are and what your objectives are. What do you want to achieve with a certain price? Do you want to penetrate a market? Do you want to compete with your competitors by offering it's cheaper? Do you want to maybe offer it at a higher pricing than competitors because you know that customers think that a more expensive product is probably a better quality product? Whatever your approach is, that's what you're going to set out to do. Obviously, you have to set specific objectives that you want to achieve, because in the day we're in business to make money. We're not in business just to survive. That's the main objective. That's why we want to make a sale and keep a customer happy, because we want him to return and buy more, and we want him to tell other people about it. That's how we grow our business. Bottom line is what it means. It's the bottom line. More sales and higher profits. Businesses are in business for that reason. Candace, no, I don't think you have to register for the second semester. You have enrolled for the year course. High certificate in business accounts administration or in a high certificate in business marketing. Both the HEB and the HEM groups is a 1-year qualification. You do not have to register for the second semester. Only people who have to register for the second semester are students who, from previous years, who are just doing a module or repeating a module. Okay, you don't have to register again for the second semester. You will just return on the 8th of August when the second semester finishes. But before that time, obviously, like it has been at the start of, 8th of August. What did I say?
The second semester open. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like on the 8th of August.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
It's not too soon. Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure, Candace. The second semester starts on the 8th of August, yes.
So I think we filled our exam on the 9th. So what we're going to do after this?
School closed, or?
We won't be closed, but there won't be classes. There will be official holiday for the students. Yeah, so you'll have a nice break. You're gonna have a. If you're not happy with that, no. For those, there's some not confusion, but just for clarity's sake, in class there's obviously a discussion on the subject too. We finished this week with classes. Next week is a study week. Then you have 2 weeks of exams. I think you finish around about the 2nd of July, 9th of July. Yeah, that's your exam period. Okay. Then you're on leave. Then I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to. I'm going to make it as if I don't know you. The reason for that is twofold. A, we need to mark your exam papers. B, we need to we need to ensure that all the results are processed properly. Okay. And as you have, I've marked not even half of your assignments yet. It's not sit down and mark for 10 hours. If I had 10 hours in succession, I would have been finished. But you mark 2, now you have a class, then you have 2 periods off, and you mark 3 papers, and then so it's a continuous process. What will I be doing when this class finishes? I have another class, and what will I do after that? I will mark for the rest of the day. So I'm pretty much in that mold, but it takes time. So that's what's going to happen up to the 9th of July. Then you'll be on a break, and the second semester starts on 8th of August. During that time that you're on break, obviously, we will communicate with you and your modules for the second semester will also become open on Canvas. Okay.
So, why do you mean like to pause the first semester? But you're supposed all your modules, then you can pause.
No, the modules, that's a valid question. If you do not pass a first semester module, there will be a supplementary exam. The supplementary exam, I think we've learned from last year, happens at the end of the year, even for your first semester subjects. Just because usually what would have happened under normal circumstances, we would have started in February, first week in February already. You guys only started first week in April. What usually would have happened is that we start first week in February, and then you would have been in exams now as we speak already. So you can have the supplementary exams immediately after. If you know now, within a week, you will know that you have to repeat this module by writing a supplementary exam. Okay, but obviously because the time frame has collapsed and it's been moved forward till start of April, the supplementary exams will be at the end of the year. Okay, right. That's basically, we did it last year as well because that was the impact of COVID on our timetable. Okay, so that out of the way. During that last session that I want to, let's get back to that. What day or time next week would suit you best? It could be, and there's two suggestions from that I can make. Usually you had class on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now we can continue to do it on either one of those days. It doesn't have to be the second period that you usually have on those 3 days. It could be any other time. It doesn't have to be 9:15 or 9:25. It could be 10 o'clock. I want us to decide what would be a good day. It, in my opinion, would either be the 23rd, which is the Wednesday, or the 25th, which is the Friday. The reason why I say that is, A, it provides me with more time to complete all the marking and prepare proper feedback for you. And secondly, it allows you the opportunity to already start with your preparation for the exam, and maybe you have questions which we can address. Because that session that I suggest on the 23rd or the 25th would be to give you feedback on your formal test, as well as your assignment, and to look at the exam paper, looking at structuring of questions and give you sample questions, for instance, just to get you in the mold. Okay, and it only works, or it not only works, it works better if you've done some preparation. Okay, and obviously to answer any questions that you might have and then you've picked up during your preparation for the exam up to that point. Okay. What would be the suggestion, anybody? Because of what we decide, I'm going to put on Canvas in an announcement anyway, just to remind you. Okay, remind you of that of the time. Give you some instructions on the exams, similar instructions that you'll find in your exam paper. Remember that first section right at the heading of your exam paper usually gives you instructions. It says chapter 1 to whatever, 30 minutes, 50 marks, types of questions that you're going to ask, and also contact numbers in case there's technical issues during your exam. Phone this WhatsApp number. Here's the email to use. Okay, that information I will also post in the announcement. So you get it in your announcement, but you also get it in your paper, right at the top of your exam paper. Okay. So what would be a good time? What would be a good time? Sorry, I'm just getting some pop-ups from other meetings that's happening. Which is everybody okay? Morning, Duncan. Duncan says next Monday morning, same time, second period.
Writing is on 21st or writing entrepreneurship, so I'm sure it was preparing.
When you're writing entrepreneurship?
21st.
21st.
Sometime next week. 21st, yeah. 21st.
Don't start with marketing.
No, start with entrepreneurship.
Marketing is the 28th. 28th, yes.
Writing entrepreneurship first.
Are you writing entrepreneurship next week?
It's marketing first.
I don't have your full exam timetable with me. Can anybody just quickly access that, and then we can have a look, because next week is a study week. It shouldn't be any exams next week. Marketing that Monday, and then that's why the second years finish on the 2nd already, because they are in study week now this week. The 2nd and 3rd is the senior students.
So for me, I've been on the 23rd.
Thank you, Tiffany. Yes, I was under the impression as well that the first exam that you start with is at 28th, and that would be with business marketing. Right, so Duncan suggested next Monday, the 21st. Same time as now. Can I get an idea? All chapters, all chapters, all chapters, all chapters.
Until chapter 12, sir.
No, we haven't done chapter 11 and 12. Remember, we only did.
Until 8.
Remember, we did. No. What chapters did we do? We did chapters
5.
I'm testing you now because you need to know this.
I don't which was it's 1, 2, 3.
Can
it's 6 and 7 together.
Yep.
It's the products not what, and then 8 in
Right. Let me take you out of your misery. Let me take you out of misery. It's quite simple. I could say we're writing chapters 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Or I can say we're writing chapters 1 to 10, but not 4. That's the simplest way of putting it, okay? You're doing chapters 1 to 10, but not chapter 4. Okay, we are busy currently, we're going to do today chapter 8 and 9, and then leave 10 for Friday. We should be finished with all of them because it's revision, it's not repeat of a lecture. I'm highlighting the important aspects. Okay, so yes, Tiffany, you're quite correct. Those are the chapters. Okay, so get back to the question. We've got one offer on the table, and that is to do our additional revision session next Monday, the 21st, same period, second period, starting at 9:25. Is that fine for everybody? Or remember, you be at home or wherever you are. There's no, it's not going to be on campus. It's going to be all online. Everybody good with next Monday, 21st at 9:25? Thank you, Tiffany. Duncan and Tiffany are the ones who are taking charge here, and that will stay. What will happen is I will now post an announcement later this afternoon on Canvas, confirming the following: that next Monday, the 21st, we will have an additional exam. And again, it's not limited. People remember, because it's not. The class is an hour long. It can be longer than an hour. We do it until we're finished. Okay, it doesn't have to be an hour. It can be shorter than an hour, but it can also be longer than an hour. I want you to come with questions. I have feedback that I've prepared and will give you. Okay, but it's thank you very much, Tiffany. That's thank you, Candice. That's what what I'll do this afternoon. In that announcement, you'll find confirmation of next week's date. I will include, I think we can stick to the same link because it's the same time. Don't have to do another link. I will include the link in the announcement as well, just in case. Okay, so you can actually access your session through the announcement too. Right, I will include the following in that as well. I will again summarize the chapters that's involved. I will summarize your details on the exam, date, time, duration, and everything. Okay, that will all be in the announcement, just to make sure that you get that information in your announcement today already, and that you will get it in your exam paper as well, in your introduction session. Okay, thank you very much. Now, we have said, and during the introduction, I said to you that price is extremely important. And price is important, yes. The reason why price is so important is that if you don't have the money, you can't buy something. If it is too expensive for you, you don't buy it. And unfortunately, you as the business owner don't know. You only pick it up when you see that your sales are dropping. Nobody's going to go to a shop and just going to say, oh, I can't buy anything, it's too expensive, I'm going home. They will look at the price and they will not buy it. They're not going to tell you when they walk to the checkout till and say, listen, I wanted to buy this and this and this, but it's too expensive for me. Okay. They will just buy what they can afford and they will leave. And then I spoke to somebody at Pick n Pay where I shop over the weekend as well, and she said to me she's already picked up a trend over the last month. People, and they know they're regulars who come in every day, we come in every Friday, for instance, to do their shopping, who basically now comes once a month. Or maybe the person who shops every day is now shopping only twice a week, for instance. People are planning their excursions more carefully. And the main reason is cost of living and the fact that they are very conscious of the price of products. People will, where they would there was a special on because Pick n Pay is 52 years old. I'm older than Pick n Pay. Yes, believe it or not. Pick n Pay is 52 years old this year, and in this particular week, I think was the birthday week. There's a range of specials on the weekend, and I saw. I mean, I was on Saturday morning. I wanted to make a cup of coffee, and I said, "Oh, this is my last coffee. I need to put that on my list." And then I saw the special from Pick n Pay. Buy 2 of these, and you get the third one free. But when you buy 2, you probably would pay double what you would have paid if you only bought 1, and you only need 1. Okay, they get you with those specials, but then I realized again, maybe 2 years ago, if they had a special like that, because it's something that you can store in your cupboard, it's not going to go off. I will definitely save if I buy the 2 now and get a third one free. If I know that coffee takes me 2 months to finish the jar, now I know I'm fine for 6 months if I have 3. But the fact is, people don't have the money for the 2 now. They have the money for the 1. So the special is not really that great a special. For some people, they can, and they do. But the majority of consumers now, they say, you know what, sorry, it's a good offer, but I can't. I just need 1. I'm just going to buy 1. I experienced it myself on the weekend. So when we refer to pricing constraints, we're specifically referring to internal factors as external factors. Internal factors refers to the product life cycle. Okay? Initially, it might be priced slightly cheaper than our competitors when we enter our introduction phase of the product life cycle, because we want to stimulate sales. We want to encourage people to buy our product. And later on, we can gradually maybe increase the price if we start experiencing a growth in sales and we see that the customers are actually remaining loyal. Even if there's remember we spoke about, and that's also later in this chapter, price elasticity and inelasticity. In other words, if the price goes up, the demand is inelastic if it actually does not really go up and down when the price changes. But it is very elastic. In other words, it goes, sales go up or sales go down if a price, if there's a change in the price. maybe an increase in price or a drop in price. Okay, that's for later in the chapter, but it's linked to the price and it's linked to the economic climate, and it's internal because and when we refer to internal factors, we return to internal factors not from the consumer's point of view, from the business's point of view. Okay, what is your business model? Are you a monopoly? Are you oligopoly? Okay, are you a one-man business? Are you a Pty limited? Are you a franchise? Those are all factors that are all indicate what your business model is, and your business model is then also linked to your business and marketing objectives. Okay, these are internal, and the internal factors refer to internal aspects. Remember, chapter 2, the environment. We had the internal environment, the micro environment, then we had the macro, the external environment. Now, what we're talking about, the internal factors here that affect price, is what we can control, right? We determine how much we mark up our prices based on, remember, you manufacture something, there's the cost, you know what it costs to make that product, and you add, say, 25%. That 25% that you add is part of what your business objectives are. You set that. Nobody else determines that. You decide that. Okay? Then you have external factors as well. External factors is the competitors, what their prices are, how sensitive consumers are to price changes. Okay, if the price comes down, are you going to sell more? I know that usually that's the assumption, but it doesn't really. Sometimes the reverse of the consumer's perception that if something is more expensive, it must be of a better quality. And the reverse is true as well. When the price comes down, people think, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are they trying to get rid of this stuff? It can very much. Did you read that? I'm a Bovril person. Who's a Marmite person? Yes, as a spread on a piece of bread. Not really. Not savory. What do you eat in your bread? Just butter. Margarine. I know a very popular spread on sandwiches is what the Australians call a Vegemite sandwich. Now that's just Marmite, okay? Because Marmite, that black spread that you put on your bread, is actually a vegetable-based spread. Where Bovril is it's beefy. Okay, so it's got a meat. Right. Now, Marmite has a problem because there's one ingredient that they use to actually make Marmite that is actually at the moment out of supply. So for the next 2 months, there's not going to be any Marmite. So if you see, yes, so if you see on the shelves, stock up. Now, in a case like that, for instance, people they've published it in the newspaper, so people say, "But I went to the shop at this no Marmite." Well, so that's the reason why. So there are some shops obviously who still have, and then people who obviously they will now buy. Okay, it's like, remember just before hard lockdown, everybody's going for the toilet paper and all of these things that they know that they weren't sure if they're going to have, but which they know they will need in a lockdown where you can't go to the shops. So those kind of aspects, that's a consumer. That's a consumer who's sensitive to the price and say, you know what, maybe sometimes I stock up. It also, it can also be that there's certain legal implications where legislation is changed and it impacts on your business, and therefore you have to cost that extra fee into your price. Okay, it's added to your cost and you can now either decide to not increase your price and absorb that increase, or to stay with the same profit margin that you had previously, but that would mean that the price increases. Okay, so you've got to be very sensitive to that, because in tough times like now, for instance, the consumers are very sensitive to price, like we've said at the start of the session, and we have to be very careful of that. Right, so those are some of the price constraints that we have to consider. Supply and demand, we sort of looked at supply and demand as well. If you look at the graph over there, this is actually this is something that I know that you might think, oh, this is accounting. It's not accounting. The reason why we do something like this, and you basically have your supply curve, that's the one going from bottom, the one going from the bottom left to the top right, that's your supply curve, and then you have your demand curve, which is top left down to bottom right, okay? Where they cross, in other words, what the market wants and what you can deliver is equal. That's usually where you've got your market price. Okay. Excuse me? You would have done this in economics, yes. So, for instance, if I give you an example, if I give you a case study in an exam or a test, I would give you information and say, listen, these are different prices. When you're producing a product, you're producing 1,000 units of a product at 30 Rand. You're producing 2,000 of them at 35 Rand. You're producing 3,000 of them at 40 Rand. Now that's the supply, right? That's the supply. Now the demand is that if the price is 30, the demand will be higher. If the price is higher, the demand will be lower. And that's why it runs in the opposite direction as the supply curve. Where they cross is the price that you know is your starting point. That's your market price. You can, while we call it the market price, we also call it the equilibrium price or a break-even price. Exactly. So you're not making a profit, but you're not making a loss, because to manufacture the quantity that is demanded is equal to what you supply. So that price is your equilibrium price or your break-even price, is something called the market price. If you're going to do pricing, that's where you'll start, because that's going to, because you're not making a profit or a loss, that's where you will start. But you will obviously try to sell it for maybe slightly higher than the market price, because you want to make a profit. Okay, that's the reason why this particular exercise is done. It's not difficult. And as I said, you've done it in other subjects as well, but it's also important to use as a tool in marketing to determine your price. Okay, we've looked at price elasticity and the inelasticity of demand, or the elasticity of demand. And basically, if you confuse the two, look at the two images that we have on the screen. It is elastic. It's elastic when you use what? Remember the example of the elastic band? I've got an elastic band here in my pocket, I'm taking it out now. If you take the elastic band and you stretch it, what happens to it? It goes wider. What happens if I release it? It comes back to its original. Now that movement refers to an elastic demand, which basically means that if there's a small change in price, the demand goes bigger. Okay, if there's a small change in price, the demand is elastic. It means that the demand goes, if there's a price increase or price, remember, we say price difference. It could be increase or it could be a reduction in price. Either which way, the demand is elastic if there is a considerable change in demand when there's a price change. The exact opposite is true for an inelastic demand. That's like taking a cord. How can I use it in here? I'll take this cord for instance. Okay. I can't stretch this. It's got a beginning and an end. Right. So basically this relates to an inelastic demand, because if there's any change in price, it's a marginal, if any, change in demand. Okay. That refers to in realistic demand, just to give you an idea. Right. What else do we have to consider apart from the time? It's 10 o'clock now. Well, long talk. Different appropriate pricing levels. Now, you are going to have a few different methods that, as a business, you are going to consider. The three major ones are customer value methods, cost-based methods, and competitor-based methods. It's pretty much what it says. If you look at customer value methods, the one that's most popular is the demand backward pricing. In other words, you do some research, you see what your competitors charge for a product in the market, you do some research amongst by surveys and find out what customers will be prepared to pay. You start with that. Other thing that you do know is you know what it costs you to make that product, and then the difference will be your profit. Okay. So you're working backwards. You can more accurately determine, but you therefore do not decide on like one of the cost-based methods where they say the cost plus pricing, where you say, this is my cost, I'm going to add 10% to that. Okay, that's the other way around. That's the reverse of the demand backwards. Okay. Another cost-based one is the experience effect. The more and the longer you are in business, the cleverer you become. Okay, so you know now exactly where to maybe reduce some cost. Okay, so the more experienced you are, the more accurate you can determine your cost, and that's what the experience effect basically means. So if you do something, if you produce 5 items at 10 Rand and 100 items at 2 Rand, you know that over time you can actually your capacity is of such a nature that you can produce more, so it's going to cost you less to produce more. Okay, but you don't know that in advance, because if it's a new product, you've got no idea what the market will be. But once you know and you establish in the market, then obviously you can take an approach like this, because you become more experienced. The more experienced you become, the easier you understand your business and your capacity, and you know where you can maybe save some money. You don't have to change the price, but your profit will be more. But you also know that if you have to change the price, that's what the difference would be, because you have gained experience on what you are capable of doing. A loss leader pricing. Basically, a loss leader pricing is that you want to. It's a approach in an attempt to stimulate sales, where you are now dropping your price slightly lower than the price of your competitors. Remember, we sometimes in South Africa, it's very a typical example would be the red hanger sale that Edgar's has once a month. You know that the prices are reduced. It's an approach to increase sales. So you're dropping the price slightly, you're offering those specials. That is an example of a loss leader pricing, where you are trying to increase your sales, and that's why you're taking that price reduction option. The prestige pricing, you are not worried about price. You are so confident that your product, the quality of your product, is good enough, and the perception in the mind of the customers is exactly the same. The customer is also saying, you know what, we'll support. Woolie's a good example. We'll buy that product because we know it's a better quality product. Okay, so that is basically what your prestige pricing. Prestige means higher price, better quality. Then you have the odd even pricing. Odd even pricing, quite simply, typical marketing ploy. Something is not 10 Rand, it is 9.95. Okay. 11.99. It sounds better than 12. It actually is almost exactly the same as 12. So that's just, it sounds cheaper, yes. And the numbers that you see, it looks less, and as a result of that, so that's what the odd even pricing refers to as a method that's used. And then you have your price lining. In other words, I think the example I've used previously is that of a shoe manufacturer like Adidas or Nike. They have a shoe with certain features in the $7.99 price range. Then they have a shoe with different features for $8.99 and for $9.99. So there's different products by the same company that's offered at different price categories. Okay, that's what price lining means. So there's a line of products. There's a product that fits into each of those. There's a product in your product line that fits into each of those price categories. Okay. Competition based is pretty much what it says. Your price skimming. Price skimming refers to specifically, like now, for instance, with the vaccines. Especially in the medical profession, there's a lot of research done on new products that could offer you a cure for cancer or for any illness, for instance. Now, price skimming refers to the fact that when the product is actually now introduced to the market, you're trying to put it at the highest price possible because you want to make the money that you've invested in your research back as quickly as possible. Okay, that's price skimming. It's like it's like offering it's like buying a cappuccino and it's nice and frothy. Okay, very few people drink a cappuccino just like that. Some people take the spoon and they skim that milk, that frothy milk on the top, and then they drink the coffee. Okay, so that's price skimming. You're trying to skim the cream off the top first. Okay, it's like eating different layers of cake. This weekend again, my one son, for instance, if he has a piece of cake with some icing on it, he eats the icing off first and then he eats the cake. Okay, so he skims off the icing from the top. That's exactly what, in other words, you're trying to cash in as quickly as possible by skimming the cream of the market. And then people realize, okay, right, there might even be a price reduction after that. Okay, penetration pricing. Penetration pricing is pretty much similar to the low-cost leader. You're trying to penetrate the specific market by lowering your price in relation to your competitors, so you can sell more volume, more units, for instance. That's usually when you're trying to enter a new market or you're trying to penetrate a new market. That's a strategy or method that's often used. Customary pricing. Customary pricing is when, for instance, you know that if you buy a can of cool drink in a shop, it could be anything from $8.99 to 15 Rand, whatever. If you're using, for instance, vending machines don't take $12.99 prices. It's sort of a fixed price, 10 Rand or 2 Rand or whatever it is. Okay, so that's a fixed price, and it's a price that's customary to that particular service. Often slightly more expensive than you would have bought in a shop, but it's also a convenience thing, because you can buy that from a vending machine standing anywhere, because even if it's usually not it's usually not inside the shop. Because if inside the shop, you would have gone inside the shop and bought it for a cheaper price. Okay, so it's a convenience thing as well. Above and below competitors, again, you can sometimes decide, are you going to offer it slightly higher than your competitors to make the customers think maybe it's a better product because it's slightly more expensive. Sometimes it could be that you offer it at a slightly higher price because you have an extra benefit that they don't have, and you're using this as a pricing method to lure more customers to buy your product. Okay, especially if you're entering a new product into the market and you want to obviously become competitive. All right, any questions at this point? Are we all good? Good. Right. I've highlighted now the importance of the important aspects of chapter 10. Remember, there's 8 steps that in the pricing process. I'm not going to ask you the 8 steps. Okay, I've highlighted the important aspects from chapter 8. Chapter 9. Oh yes, one of the favorite chapters. Chapter 9. How do we tell our customers that we have a product at a certain price, at a certain place? What is the objective of marketing communication? There's 3 things that's important. What does marketing communication do? Any way that you communicate. It could be a printed advertisement. It could be a commercial on the radio, on the television. It could be a billboard outside. It could be a press release, direct selling, personal selling. One of those guys that phone you and then getting a WhatsApp on your phone that say, listen, special at this is a special, buy one, get one free tonight at Debonair's for pizzas. And then all those are different methods of communicating with our customers. What is the main purpose? There are three important things that marketing communication must do. Anybody? Let me get my chat open again. It is to get customers, but how do we get the customers? Remember, I'm not saying what is the main objective of marketing. What's the main objective? There are 3 elements. With every marketing communication, there's 3 things we want to achieve. It's at the start of that chapter. Okay, right at the bottom, right underneath the learning outcomes. No, it's on the left-hand side. Where does the chapter start? Right in that bottom paragraph. Read the last 3 sentences. You'll find it there. I've got eyes in the back of my head, I tell you. The 3 main objectives of marketing communication. I'm waiting here, he's reading that paragraph that I've asked him to read in the book. I don't have a book in front of me, I know the book. Yeah. You'll get there. You'll get there. To me, it's not knowing exactly where it is in the book. It's knowing what it means. So you can apply it. Right, anybody online? What's the 3 main objectives of marketing communication? What does marketing communication want to achieve? No man, get out of my face here.
So it doesn't like persuade.
That's one.
Inform.
Yep. One. Yes. Thank you very much. We finally got there. The 3 main objectives of marketing communication is to inform our customers. Inform them, A, we have a product. This is what the product does. That's what it can do for you. That's where you can find it. And that's the price. Okay? Secondly, it's to persuade. It's with your angle, it is to persuade you. And usually the persuasion and the reminding happens through continuous repeated advertisements. Okay, so it has a number 1 position, pole position in the customer's mind. Remember what we said last week when the targeting positioning? You want that pole position in the head. When somebody buys something, oh yes, I've got to go there. Remember that ad, it rings a bell. Inform, persuade, you're trying to convince the customer in a nice way. Because you cannot, remember, customer is in a market environment which is not internal. You can't control them. You can, through very good marketing, persuade them. Right. Yes, until you walk into the shop and you see, oh, shucks, But, we saw that ad on television. We're talking about the Magnum, the new Magnum, the little mini container. And I said to my son, said, "Whoa, you didn't know that Magnum comes?" I said, "Yes, it's fun." And then but then I walk into the shop a week or so later, and when I walked past the frozen section, my eyes caught that, and I remember that ad, and I thought, you know what? And I looked, and I immediately turned away. a 2.4 liter ice cream Dairy Made that you can buy in any retail shop, it's going to cost you anything from 40 to 50 rand. Okay, it's 38 rand on a special. I think it's on a special now at Pick n Pay. Now that is for that's for 2.5 liters of ice cream. Now this little container of Magnum, 99 bucks. There's no way I'm going to ever buy that. So yeah, that was and I think that's a. Do you, however, believe that Magnum is, and we've all had a Magnum at some point in our lives, even if it's just to try and see what's the fuss about. Why is everybody raving? Why is it so expensive? It must be a very, very good ice cream. And then you realize it is, but then you also realize you can't have this every day because it's too expensive. So that's an example of where they know their quality is very good, but they also know that they're not going to sell 5 million units as opposed to a cheaper product. And customers.
So, do you feel like actually loyalty comes in?
Yes. Yeah.
They see the price because they know
they have their loyal customers who will buy it. Yes, you're right. And it's obviously not a lot, but that's how they have positioned themselves in the market. They want to be perceived as a more expensive one that comes and that comes with a mind-blowing experience. But they also know it's not the same as a Coca-Cola that people will buy more frequently because it's a much cheaper product. But yeah, they definitely have. They base a lot of the strategy on the loyalty of the customer, which they've built over time. And there are people who can afford it and will remain loyal, but there will be people who can't really afford it but also remain loyal. They won't just buy it regularly.
I think even it's like just 20%. I think they focus on the 20% to shift.
Exactly. You're 100% correct. Yeah, they focus on that 20% loyal customers that will, regardless if it's 99 bucks or 149 bucks, they will still buy it. And it's focused on the customer that can afford it. They don't make no illusions about it. They never said we're going to be the next cheapest ice cream. No, they never said that, and that's never been the intention. Right. So marketing communication has 3 objectives: to inform the customer, to persuade the customer, to remind the customer. Remind the customer that maybe you don't have a need for the product at the moment, but when you do, we must be your first choice. And that's why they keep on repeating those ads over and over and over. And you say, oh my word, not another one, not again, not the same one. I feel like the new F&B ad on television, which is now on the radio as well. The changeables. Again, that's their strategy, repeatedly. I've seen it, and it's stuck in my head. It's become annoying, but it carries a good message. But in some ads, if it's repeated, you just think, keep the same theme, just change the content of it.
Also, one discovers one way you see the fees 10 per month.
Yes.
And I also got the money. So I see many customers of mine are doing it, which is they keep reminding customers, so customers are going for it.
That's it. Excuse me. I've got a bit of a throat this morning. But yes, that's another good example of, I would say, annoying ad, but an ad that's repeated quite regularly.
I think sometimes, don't you think sometimes it can be a good thing and bad?
I think it is both. Yes, you're quite right. The intention, obviously, of those repeated ads is not to create annoyance, but to keep on reminding customers, and it's just to ensure that you remember them, because that's all you want to do. No commercial, no advertisement that you print or that you play on the radio or on television or have on a billboard, none of those. It's a guarantee for a sale. We're back. We just we had an interruption. It's Monday. It's Monday morning internet. The Monday morning internet challenge, and there's no reward. There's no prize for it, unfortunately, except for interruptions. People, yes. Marketing communication, very important, as the definition says there on your first page. Inform, persuade, remind. That's what you always try to do. Okay. There's obviously a marketing communication process that is followed as well. I think let's leave that for, we've got very few minutes left before the session is finished. I just want to summarize at this point what we've done today. That is, again, to just confirm the importance of price and finding the right price and having the right methods to determine what your price will be. And that will be in line with what the company's objectives and strategy is. Are you trying to penetrate the market? Are you just trying to keep your position in the market? Do you want to create a competitive advantage? Do you want to increase your sales volume? Do you want to increase your market share? Those are all possible objectives that businesses can have. And because of that, they have a specific method that they use to price their products. Probably one of the most reliable options, and that's used by most companies initially, is to determine what the cost of manufacturing the product will be, and then adding a percentage that will that fits within their particular business strategy. In other words, we will not, and again, it ties in with what we've done in chapter 1, what your business marketing philosophy is. Are you going for sales? Remember, sales orientation, aggressive selling. You want to get rid of the products, you want to get rid of this leftover stock, then you're going to have a different pricing strategy, because you are going to reduce your prices to get rid of the products. Okay, so your product or your marketing orientations that we did, product, production, sales, customer, remember that first chapter? Those marketing orientations very much tie in with what your marketing strategy would be, and pricing being one of that, because price is one of the 4 P's of the marketing mix. We've done product in the previous chapter. We are going to, and we just started with marketing communication, which basically is the promotions component. We've done price just now, okay? And we have done in chapter 7 the distribution, the different distribution channels on Friday. Okay, those are the 4 P's of the marketing mix. That's in summary where everything, you see now all of a sudden now that you, oh, hang on, this is like, I was, it's like when you see a maths question for the first time, you think, where do I start? And then you just start with a process, a organized process. You do this and then you do that. Remember, what's in the brackets you do first, and then there's a method to get to the correct answer. It's the same with business as well. We're not going to set a price before we haven't got a product. We're not going to promote anything if we do not have a product, because what are you going to promote? Okay, we're not going to tell people, yeah, we've got a wonderful product. If we don't have a product yet, we don't have a price yet. So there's an order in which the 4 P's in the marketing mix are done. But now, at this point, hopefully everybody is now seeing the bigger picture and they're not seeing it as 10 different chapters, but they are linking the chapters, because that's what I want to achieve at the end of the semester. All right, that fits in there. Marketing orientation. What do these philosophies mean and where do they fit in? And now you see, no, this is where they fit in. Okay. Hopefully at the end of your studies, you will find that you'll get that epiphany and everything will be clear to you. Any questions, anybody? I've summarized, and I'm going to leave you with the following. I'm sending out a notification announcement that I'm posting on Canvas this afternoon to inform you of the extra session next Monday. And on Friday, I won't see you on Wednesday. You're welcome to tune in on Wednesday, but you will have a blank screen. Okay. There will be no class on Wednesday because it's a public holiday. So enjoy your day off. Use it productively. Productively does not necessarily have to mean that you have to study and work. It means that you can actually rest as well, because that's equally important. Okay. Thanks very much, everybody. If there's any other questions, you're welcome to ask me now. Otherwise, I'll finish the session and get ready for my next class.
So, next semester, these modules you will now follow away.
Yes.